and let's roll it. Man, and we're back. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. We're excited to come back to the 23rd edition here of Black Friday, where these opinions are not for sale. My name is Christian. We got Chris. We got Omar. We got special guest from Today is America, Sonny Wilson. Sonny, man, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, man. Man, for those of y'all that don't know Sonny, we're going to let Sonny introduce himself here and give a little more background about what he does and how he's been involved in the movement and what he's got going on.
Yeah, so my name is Sonny Wilson. I work. I'm a part of Today is America. What I do for them is basically I'm a representative and admin also for them. Basically, we help out what they've got going on in their situation and organization there. Also, what I do is I teach foreign policy for the organization. I have a TikTok. It's at Mr.SL Wilson. Got to get it up and running. I got banned not too long ago, so trying to get back up and running. And like I said, I teach foreign policy there for them. So come follow me and check it out.
Foreign policy. You're the foreign policy guy?
Yeah.
Man, we need the foreign policy guy. I'll tell you what, we got Mr. Domestic Policy Omar Peters over here. We've been in the foreign policy. Omar is a policy man. So,
yeah, I'm not as well.
My expertise, I would say, but I'm proficient.
Yeah. So, So you have your other TikTok though. It's got like 100-some thousand followers.
Yeah, so that's my area of expertise. So I have another TikTok, Preacher of Righteousness, and what I do within there is basically I talk about Christianity and basically ways that help you defend the gospel. So I get on there and I basically make my TikToks around arguments that people try to present to Christians. So basically arguments such as is homosexuality something that's really explicitly stated in the Bible, and ways to combat people who say that you're homophobic since you're a Christian and things like that. So I give them arguments and scriptures that they can use to better set a defense for the gospel as the scripture states.
Man, yeah, I checked out a few of those, man. Those are pretty on point. And you make it so concise in a span of, 25 to 30 seconds. Cause you speak it fast, but it is clear. It is clear. I tell you what, man, you go rapid fire on it, but it is quick and it is clear.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So
I would say that's probably the hardest thing, honestly, on there is because I stitched the video. So, I only get about 30 to 40 seconds to say what I actually need to say. And I try to cut down what they say and make it concise where people understand what they're trying to say in about 20 to 30 seconds, and then say my piece in the rest of the length of time. And I do have to talk fast to get it all in. So, especially when you're talking about scripture or, something religious like this, you want to be able to be concise so people don't misconstrue what you're trying to say. So I had to, like I said, say it fast so they understand it, but also get those scriptures and get that backing so they can better use it in their own walk of life and everything like that too. So
you got to cite your sources and everything up in less than a minute. You got to provide the argument, refute it, and then provide the sources all in one, man. You got to drop that all in this thing. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
TikTok is something that I'm not really on. I don't know about Chris. Chris, are you on TikTok?
Man, I love TikTok. Look, I hate China, but dang, man, they came up with a good app this time. That it is funny. The algorithm just knows what I need to see every day. It's hilarious. Like, I don't know what they do. I could be just talking to somebody about something. I'm gonna see a TikTok about it that day. Like, it's crazy how accurate it is. They're probably listening or doing something. But I mean, I'm not that important, so I'm not that worried about it. Like, if they want my information, like, I have no money. I have nothing for them to take from me. I'm like, it's whatever. TikTok's hilarious though, and I'll definitely give you a follow and check out your TikTok because I love TikTok.
It's I was one of those people. I swore off after Vine. I was like, after Vine, there will be no more. That is it, man. I was like, I swore off. It made a pact. I'm like, we're not going to do this no more. But no, there are some funny ones out there, man. I'll tell you what, some of them got me laughing hard. But man, so I know we've been off the last few weeks, y'all. I apologize in advance. We had a lot of our scheduling conflicting. A lot of really busy with work right now. I'm not gonna lie, we're really busy with work, finishing up the semester. It's been hectic. It's been good, but it has been hectic. So a lot to unpack, just in this last week alone. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into this. We had the Derek Chauvin trial decision. The whole world was on watch in every aspect of everything: the sports world, the entertainment world, the education system, the churches, everything. Everybody was watching. And on all three counts, I believe it was third-degree murder, second-degree murder, and manslaughter, they found him guilty of. And and the decision, I mean, a lot of people were happy. What I saw with generally my main what I mainly saw on conservative Instagram and Twitter is that they believe that there's going to be an appeal and that they have a good shot at the appeal. And a lot of people believe that the jury was bullied in by the mob. I mean, based on everything there, I mean, what do you guys think with regards to the trial? Did you guys follow that at all? What do you guys think of most of it?
Well, personally, my biggest issue with the trial was, like you said, the jury being bullied, essentially, and people saying like, well, if he's not guilty, I'm going to burn the city down. That's like, it's not a fair process. It's not an unbiased jury, because that's obviously a bias. It's like, my decision could affect thousands of people's lives, or affect have people end up dying. I mean, that's happened in these riots before. Police officers die, rioters die. I just feel like it was too hotly contested of a trial, and I feel like trials were not supposed to be like that. They weren't supposed to be just blown up by the media, and everyone is supposed to like know exactly and give their opinions out. But we live in such an it's so easily to share information nowadays that everybody's going to know everything. Everyone's going to be able to give their opinion on it. So I just feel really bad for those who are on the jury, because that's probably was one of the hardest things they've ever had to do. I don't feel bad for Chauvin. He literally deserves to be buried under the prison. I don't care. He's an awful person. If he killed George Floyd or not, that does not change the fact that he's just a bad person. I don't care if George Floyd OD'd. He's still a bad cop.
Well, yeah. In my whole stick with this here with Chauvin and this whole situation, it could have been totally avoided. This guy could have been off the force time and time ago if they had looked into all the complaints that have been filed against him. There had been numerous complaints against him beforehand. Yep. If we had the DA took care of it, if the mayor of Minneapolis looked at it, if the police chief and those people took care of business, this wouldn't have happened in the first place. We're putting the blame here just to get the scapegoat out of the situation here. But there was a bigger issue already from the beginning that nobody wants to admit and wants to look at in the first place. That police department's been corrupted and had so many issues for so long, and it finally blew over and boiled over into this. Now people are finally starting to look at it.
Christian, I'm glad you said that.
Oh, it's just a mismanagement. It's a total mismanagement here. It's awful.
Very glad. It's so true, because
as a person, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I was just about to say, because as a person, I used to be an officer. I used to work as an officer for college, and I went to school and took many criminal law classes and that type of thing. And as a person who was in law enforcement, what we find, especially in this particular trial, as you said, that they found that the complaints against him, and the bad thing about a lot of police departments is they have that, I don't want to necessarily call it a buddy-buddy system, but when they have these complaints against officers, they usually side with the officer and not really look into the complaints and get these bad cops out of law enforcement, which is making law enforcement look bad in the process. And this is a bad thing that's going on. But as you said, I don't like Chauvin as a person, because obviously he was a bad person. But in that particular trial, as you already mentioned, the jury, they got doxed basically. They got doxed, and you know,
One
I
second,
feel like
Sonny.
their
I'm not.
verdict that they second degree murder, third degree murder, and manslaughter. Now, I personally, what I find the evidence kind of lacking in some of those cases, but I guess we'll find out in the appeal whether or not they hold.
Okay. Y'all can hear me good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You cut out a little bit in there, but you came through at the end there. So I think you're good now. Yeah. Omar, go for it.
Yeah. I'm glad y'all mentioned that the police are corrupt in Minneapolis. I personally think not only Chauvin should have been charged, but the police around him should have been charged. And I would have charged the police chief. Heck, I would have charged the mayor. I really think there is a problem in Minneapolis, and they need to go in there and fix it. If you're getting all of these complaints about this guy, and there are probably others, you're getting all of these complaints about these folks, and you're not doing anything about it, anything at all, and at least not looking in it, you should be charged. They're just as guilty. I wouldn't charge them with third-degree murder, but they're just as complicit.
It's a total mismanagement, and they totally dropped the ball. But we've seen this happen. This is a local level government and the state level. We've seen the federal government do this with the FBI. How many mass shootings could have been prevented that the FBI had tips about that they never acted on? Parkland could have been totally prevented. Mm-hmm. What happened in Boulder could have been prevented. All these things could have been prevented if the FBI had actually acted on all these tips and all the info that they had before. I don't know why these people don't do it. I don't know what the deal is, why these people don't act. I'm just trying to understand a lot of times why these things are happening when we totally have the information and the technology to go ahead and stop these from happening prior to. All these things, all these issues that can be resolved without something exacerbating the situation. And yet here we are, mind-boggling.
It's really almost like government is just inefficient in almost everything that it does and just does not know how to handle any sort of complaint or how to go about things. Like in the private sector, imagine if somebody screwed up, like whoever was supposed to look into the Parkland shooter. Like imagine in the private sector, just an equivalent of that. They'd be canned out, blacklisted, never be able to come back to that industry ever again. Whereas the guy or girl, let's not be sexist, but whoever was looking over those complaints, they probably yes, this is my daily libertarian rant. The government is evil. But imagine though that whoever that is who's was supposed to be looking over this, they're probably still there, got their cozy office chair, and they're reading over complaints and just continuing on. And my FBI man watching now, then go tell your coworker they need to get on their stuff. Same thing with Chauvin and the police in Minneapolis. They're not doing it. They weren't going to take anything accountable. They weren't going to hold themselves accountable or hold each other accountable until somebody makes them. And it's really unfortunate because they got so politicized by the media, when I feel like Americans in general should be able to come together and say police brutality is a bad thing. We don't want the state to be able to take away our rights. I feel like if they don't make it so politicized and say one side hates you because your skin color, then it would probably be much easier to get things done and make things politicized. And that's on the media. And I hate the media too, probably just as much as I hate the government. So, that's my libertarian rant right there.
I would have to join that rant if I can to say I hate the media as much as, probably more than the government. I think the causation for a lot of things that go on in our society is because of the media and what they portray and try to promulgate through them. Because, they always have a false narrative. It's like you can never get the truth. And then, for instance, I had a friend the other day was laughing at a video she's seen, and it was basically people in a boat in the river is some flooding somewhere. And when they moved the camera, people were walking in, feet deep water, but they had a boat in it trying to act like the city was flooding. It's just like, come on, you know what I mean? And it's just sad. And I don't think social media helps a lot either, honestly. It gets out and spreads it out quicker.
Exactly. Quicker with no fact checking. Instagram and Twitter fact checking or whatever. That's not a good thing either, because it's just the left saying hey, don't worry about this. It's fine. We fact checked it. That's not actual fact checking. It's literally just people saying nah, I think that's right, so that's good.
Right. I think that's right, or I don't like that, so let me take it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then when it mysteriously gets taken down and you ask why, it was a mistake on our end. Sorry, here you go. And then just a common mistake.
An intern made a mistake. Sorry about that.
Hey, y'all, speaking of the media and how they skew things, they totally downplayed Maxine Waters inciting a riot.
There we go.
Yeah.
There it is. I was waiting for this.
If they impeach Trump for it, I think she should be expelled. I don't really agree a lot with Marjorie Taylor Greene because I think she is a nut job. I really do.
I love it.
I respect what she's doing now. I respect what she's doing now. She's trying to get Maxine Waters expelled, and honestly, she needs.
And that debate, the debate with AOC, she's trying to do.
I saw that. The AOC. Did AOC?
You got two halves of crazy. You got two sides of crazy doing that debate.
It looks like you have the far left and they got the far right coming together to do this.
Yeah. And honestly, the negative part about this is if Marjorie Taylor Greene goes like crazy right, the media is just going to be like, look, this is what Republicans believe in it. They're just going to put us on blast, and not us as Republicans, us as conservatives. I'm not a Republican, just had to clarify. But, the Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff, I feel like it's not going to go the way that she wants it to. Like, AOC can make herself look dumb every day. She does. The media ignores it. They don't care. Only Fox News cares.
That's true. And Newsmax, that's about it.
Yeah.
Newsmax.
OANN. I like my people at OANN.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A lot of people
those my people right there. Yeah. No, I mean, the whole thing is, it's just, is there something to gain from this? And if there isn't, I mean, up to you. If you want to really go ahead and do so. I mean, at the end of the day, if people say she's like Alex Jones, Alex Jones is right about a lot of stuff. Kooky as he is, he was right about a lot of stuff. I'm just gonna say it. He was, man. People would have like. Still was right, man. He still had quite a bit of stuff, So
now, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not right about a lot. She's a couple puffs. But I want to see who they get to moderate this debate. It's going to be Lester Holt.
Oh, man.
Really?
But I don't think even Lester Holt can hold these two women down. I don't know who can really moderate.
They're going to have to literally mute the mics.
What'd you say, Sonny?
So they're going to have to mute the mics on them.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yes.
It'll be a fun show though. That's something I'll pop some popcorn and I'll sit back and relax. I'll watch that and watch AOC talk about stuff she doesn't understand.
I don't know what's going to be better, the actual debate or the Saturday Night Live version of it.
I don't watch Saturday Night Live, but I'd probably watch that one. That would probably
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the trial overall, though, I feel like I feel like a lot of people on the right. I just want to say this before we move on to our next topic. I feel like a lot of people on the right don't clarify when they're talking about the trial and say like Chauvin is a bad cop. Like I see too many conservatives like in the comments saying like he didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve a guilty verdict. I'm like, okay, maybe not for murder, but can you at least clarify that he's a bad cop and shouldn't be a cop anyway? Because a lot of conservatives are in that. I'm like, look, we have to clarify because we are the side of logic. If we're not going to use logic and talk logically, then we're not going to ever be able to win anything. Like logic is our strong side. The left has emotions. We can't do emotions. We're not going to win through emotions. We have to win through logic, and we have to talk as if we're coming across logically, saying like, hey, look, Chauvin, terrible guy, doesn't deserve to be a cop. Did not murder George Floyd, though. It wasn't murder. He did bad things, though. Like, I feel like we could come across a little bit better, especially, most conservatives, they could come a little bit better on that one. Just saying.
I agree. I think the problem is that people try to, when you're on the side of right and you're right, you try to be as right as you can, but sometimes you still have to dabble in that area where, like with Chauvin's case, like he was at fault. Like I don't think he should have been charged for second and third degree murder, but I definitely think he should be charged for manslaughter. I think that should be held, and I think that will be held up. Now, if they appeal it, it probably won't stick with the second and third degree, but I think manslaughter was something that we'll find that will be held up against him. And, some people, as you said, on the right won't want to say that. They're like, oh, he was, a good person. Like, no, like that's not the case. Like you said, we have to have logic here. What he did was wrong. Like, Now, maybe it wasn't murder. Now, if they get the drug dealer to testify, and we'll find that out, maybe subpoena him. But like, he was a bad person. He should be charged with, manslaughter still. So
yeah,
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree. Manslaughter is the right charge here. Murder, no. The man had drugs in his system. But as a cop, if you know that this guy, because they've had run-ins before, George Floyd and Chauvin had run-ins before. So as a cop that has had run-ins with this guy before, and you kind of know this man is on drugs, it is your duty to protect both yourself and that person. That's your duty as a cop.
Right.
He did not do that. He sat on this man's neck. Whether that's protocol or not, it's bad. It's wrong. And he should be charged for manslaughter. Murder, no. The drugs probably more than likely murdered George Floyd. But manslaughter, yeah. He was complicit. Chauvin was complicit in all of it.
I mean, speaking of that, I do want to say, like, honestly, going back to it, a lot of conservatives also are like, he did drugs, he deserved to die, he's a dirty criminal. It's like, man, like, I'm like, you guys are making us look real bad right now. Like, yeah, drug dealers don't automatically deserve to just be murdered by cops. Like, I feel like it's another thing you got to clarify. Like,
man, the Philippines, it's the way to go, man.
Trying to go full Duarte or whatever his name was and start
man, shooting drug dealers. It's the way to go.
Come on, I'm like he whatever he did. What was it? Fentanyl, I think. I'm like, he didn't deserve to die. I mean, he wasn't like, watching the video, he was not an upstanding citizen. It wasn't like an A+ citizen. I'm not saying that, but like a lot of conservatives make it sound like he deserved to die. It's like, nah, I don't think so.
No,
and,
but
and like I said, somebody who worked in law enforcement.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying, as somebody who worked in law enforcement, what they do when you pull up on the scene, especially when you're dealing with a certain individual, they run that person through the system and they come back and they'll tell you, hey, this person, we had encounters with this person before. Maybe he's armed and dangerous. Maybe he's, has some medication that he always has on him, or drugs that he usually uses. So they know this information. Especially there's actually a video that came out that has George Floyd in the seat of a vehicle trying to swallow pills, and they're telling him to spit it out way before the incident that caused his death. So they had this information, this about George Floyd, but then still react the way they did. And like I said, I think that charge of manslaughter should have stuck the way it did, because you already know. It's not like you went in there blindsided, like, oh, I didn't know he was on drugs,
Yeah, I think the big thing is with all this, like, if they can prove whether or not, and like, it should be pretty clear now whether or not Derek Chauvin had a role in his death, or did he really just overdose without it? That's the whole thing. It's like, did he or did he not? Like, and if he really just clean overdose and whatever, then that's it. But if he didn't, then obviously somebody is at fault here. And there's only one person it looks like to blame for this whole situation right there. It looks pretty clear and simple here. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear here. I mean, yeah, manslaughter. It's if he's gonna get hit with anything, the whole second and third degree murder here. It's like the intent, like while it's happening, I'm gonna kill him now. Like, you're gonna have a tough time proving that, and I think they kind of got bullied into making that decision. But I definitely think manslaughter. I think the manslaughter charge would hold. Definitely.
So wait, I want to know. So it wasn't like the OJ trial where there were locked in a hotel and they took the TVs out of the place and things like that. It wasn't like that.
I'm not exactly sure. I think they were still allowed to go home and everything. Wow. But I'm not sure if they knew each other's names that were on the jury, because I remember reading something. They only referred to everybody by their numbers. They didn't have any sort of identification. It was just numbers.
But what they did say is that they were going to air out their names preceding the trial to keep transparency. And I'm like, that you can't do that. Like, people are literally going to know who these people are, and not that they couldn't figure out afterwards. But as the person in the comment said, the jury intimidation is dangerous literally for our society, because if the causation of you going to be a juror and not having the verdict that the people want causes you to have some type of repercussion, then of course you're going to side with the people every time. Nobody wants to go find their house burned down because of the way they voted during the verdict. It's like, nobody wants that. And so I think we need to keep these people safe, and allow them to do their job.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the one thing as far as like providing the trials now. I mean, when we had this all set up, the court system, our justice system, it was all set up, in a clean and clear way to make sure that we reached our decisions impartially, that we weren't going to get, people weren't going to get paid off, they weren't going to get, pressured into this. But now the fact is, like, social media exists, and the internet exists. People can find your info in a span of a few minutes. They do a little bit of digging. Everybody turns into a detective. You're done. Like, they can find out your family, your mama's name, your daddy's name, your uncle's name, your auntie's name, where you live, and everything. They'll find out everything about you, and just like that, and it's gone, like everything there. So, this is, pretty serious stuff now that we're getting past the point here of where to find out where the point of no return is in regards to this stuff. Like, it's getting real. Oh, lost Sonny for a second here.
Yeah, I think honestly, going point of no return, I feel like this is a good point to transition into the next one. If you want the one that happened in Ohio, because this seems like we're going into the point of no return, where it's just how quickly people look at things and they're automatically like, guilty. I'm like, you didn't watch anything, you didn't look up anything, look into any information, and the biggest dummy on the block, the biggest clown on earth, LeBron James.
Hold on. Before, we're gonna get there. Okay, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I'm gonna give you your piece on this. I will give you your piece.
I'll hold up. I had a whole rant coming, but I'll hold up.
We gotta explain this situation. Okay. Omar, can you explain the situation pretty clearly, or do you want me to roll through
it? If I don't do it as clearly, you can backtrack and help me out.
All right, for sure.
But apparently, we have an officer here in Columbus. I'm about to say Columbus, Georgia. My goodness, Columbus, Ohio. I'm sorry, I've been living in Georgia the past few months. But in Columbus, Ohio, we have an officer who shoots a girl that's trying to stab someone else. She's 15 years old. I don't know why this girl is going to stab this other girl, but I will say, in my opinion, this officer saved this young woman's life by shooting this other person. Now, there are questions like, could he have de-escalated a little bit better? Maybe he could have. I don't know. But at the end of the day, if you're going to kill someone, this is the question everybody needs to really answer and think about, and then answer, obviously. If somebody's coming to stab you and you see the knife, wouldn't you be thankful that the officer intervened in any way, form, or fashion?
That young lady was very grateful. She said she was coming at me. You had to do something. And she is grateful. They came back. She was grateful.
But yeah, LeBron James wants the man to go under the prison for this.
I always want to know, how do the victims of these situations, or the potential victims of these situations, feel like when something like this happens, and then somebody gets shot and killed in these situations, and then their potential murderer is martyred as literally like as a saint, and throwing their name and picture up on every single billboard for everybody to see, online, everywhere, and just reminding you of what could have been and why that person's face is still up like on your screen and you're looking at it. Like, I just got to know, like, that's got to be probably the worst feeling in the world, is seeing something like as horrific and tragic and like triggering as that, like every single day for who knows how long, until that's over. Like, just think about that. Like, honestly, you're going to see that every day of that person now, or that girl, whatever, that was literally about to kill you. And now they're, oh man, they were the victim, and they were the victim. I almost died. I was gonna get stabbed, but they were the victim.
What is really upsetting, because one thing that Omar didn't mention, and I believe that this is the story. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But from what I've heard, the fact of the matter is, in the video there was there were two other girls. The one in the pink who was almost stabbed, and then another girl, I think she's wearing black and white. She's the one who went on the ground right when the video started. Those two girls allegedly went to the home of the girl who got killed, Micaiah, I'm sorry, and they were going to jump her. And that was essentially what happened. Micaiah, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, went in the home, called the police, And the police arrive, and she comes outside with a knife. And that's the only part I feel bad about, because like if you just stayed inside, she'd still be alive right now. This would not be news. But she came out with a knife and tried to kill another person. And I at 13 years old, I mean, she's 13 or 15, I don't remember. But
15.
15. Okay, so 15. At 15, if you're getting bullied, if you're about to get jumped, I mean, back then, I mean, like, I'm sure we all were like just emotional and just always wanting to like fight or being upset, or like I understand her feelings, and I feel really bad that a child had to die, but like the officer did what he had to do. It's all around just a bad situation, but he did what he had to do, and I don't feel bad that that happened. I don't think he's racist. I don't think it was a race matter at all. I don't think it had anything to do with her being black. If anything, I mean, if it has anything to do with him being her being black, he saved a black girl. That's PEMDAS. It cancels each other out. Come on now.
Do you want to hear the context of this? How this happened?
Yeah.
So this is Angela Moore. She's a foster mother. Micaiah was one of her foster children. Those two there were her two previous foster children that she came to visit for a birthday celebration. The ordeal happened when they got in an argument because they told her to clean up the house because mom doesn't like the house dirty. And Micaiah responded saying that you're not the guardian of me. And, you know, and then things escalated heavily. And then, escalates a little bit, go down the road. There's a phone call made, to the police department. And then there's the knife. Almost stabs her, shot and killed, and then that's
so. Those other two girls were her foster siblings.
One of them was at least like a former and a current, I believe, at least.
Okay.
But yeah, I believe so. Yeah, they all had ties to the foster mother, so they're all like connected. In that
I wonder how they were treated in that home. I just wonder because some people take in foster kids for the money. The state pays apparently a pretty penny for it.
Yeah, they do.
So what I want to know is how these girls were treated to want to stab at you. It's almost like maybe, and I don't know this woman obviously, so I don't really want to put an opinion on her without knowing her. Let me just put that out there. But I do want to know how this woman was treating these kids. Did she pit them against each other to the point where they want to stab each other? What happened?
She wasn't even home. She wasn't even home when it happened. That's another thing. She was gone when this happened.
Now that's even.
And what you see too is in the video, the clip, the father is kicking one of the little girls. He's literally kicking them, and it's like, what are you doing?
And 2 seconds before, he's like, I'm sorry, 2 seconds after when the officer shoots Micaiah, he's like, that's a teenager. What, you just killed a teenager? Sir, you were just curb stomping her. Like another girl of the same age. Like that's why I had no idea why that dude was so upset. Like, I don't know if that was her father or who that was, the foster father. I have no idea who that man was, but he was just curb stomping another 15-year-old. So I don't understand why he was. So I don't know. It's really stupid. I see so many people posting about this right now, talking about how it's another racial. Like I saw somebody post where we just got one step forward with the Chauvin getting convicted, and now we're a million steps behind. I'm like, really, a million? Cop shoots somebody who's about to kill a black girl, a million steps behind? I'd say maybe that's like neutral. Wouldn't say it's a step forward. That's at least neutral. I mean, like, come on now. People are so dramatic.
Right. I mean, because as already been mentioned, he was a hero. Anybody who has any understanding of how fast a person can stab somebody with a knife and how fast you have to get your gun out, because like it's been mentioned, why didn't they shoot the person in the legs, the girl in the legs? Like, couldn't they shot her in the legs, something like that? It's almost impossible. You have to shoot. They're trained to shoot center body mass. Like, you're not shooting. I mean, she had a knife. She was already going in the motion, the stab motion. There's no way you're going to shoot her in the leg or in the arm to make her stop. Nobody's got the time to aim and fire to do that. It's just like he literally saved the other black girl's life. But what I find the most funny is I think it was either that same day or the next day came out that there was a 13-year-old girl who stabbed another young girl, two black girls, and nothing said about that. Nothing said about that.
No.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they didn't want it to happen because, just like you said, because if two black girls stab each other, nobody cares. Nobody cares. That's why, because nobody would care. Like, why don't you just let them stab each other? We don't care. But man, because you shot her, now we gotta care. Now we gotta care. Now we gotta.
Look at this, Christian. Man. But what about the 7-year-old girl that got shot in Chicago a few days
ago? The drive-through.
Exactly.
The drive-through. That was awful. Now that's absolutely horrendous.
Terrible. Going into
even the dad came out against Black Lives Matter. He was like, "Where are you guys at about my daughter when she's dying?"
There's
buying another house.
I don't know if you guys saw this tweet. It was from Bree Newsom, who is and this is her bio: artist, grassroots organizer, free black woman, scaled 30-foot flagpole and removed South Carolina Confederate flag in protest on June 27, 2015, and then Psalm 27. So she's a Christian. And so going to her tweet, this is her tweet. Let me open this up. Let me see. It says, teenagers have been having fights, including fights involving knives, for eons. We do not need police to address these issues. We need, we do not need police to address these situations by showing up to the scene and using a weapon against one of the teenagers. Y'all need help. I mean that sincerely. So thankfully that this person, Bree Newsom or whatever her name was, I already forgot. She does not care if black people stab each other. Only when white people shoot black people trying to stab each other is it something that we need to care about. Let those teenagers just stab each other. That's what we've been doing for eons. Let's keep it up, guys. I can't wait till my daughter's old enough to start stabbing people. Honestly, I'm a teacher, a good little stab and twist.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
Expectations are beyond low, or society, as we know, is just totally collapsed. It's totally normal. Just like all these things. I totally remember, stabbing somebody when I was a kid, or I remember doing this when I was a kid. Like, I didn't do any of that when I was a kid. That was just you, or that was just them. Like, that's not me. Like, somebody want to bring you down with their nonsense that they're on. Like, remember back when we were in high school, man? We were all smoking this and I'm like, bro, that was you, bro. That was not me. I don't know what y'all were on, but that was not me.
That's not the norm.
It's like, you know what? That was totally normal, man. Like, what?
Y'all know what needs to happen? I believe that every police officer should just go on strike or resign, and let's just see what happens.
Man, I live real close to the ghetto. I can't have that happen.
Why they need the police?
I live too close to the ghetto for all the police to go on strike.
You better arm yourself.
I need a couple of them.
Right, AK-47.
I don't want.
And you just do you.
Yeah, I don't know about
that. At your house. What did Ice Cube say on that movie? Protect yourself.
Omar mentions this, and Chris, I know you want to get into this, man. I know you got to get into this because this is right. I had to stop you before you're going, man. But LeBron James himself, man, goes ahead, puts a giant bingo target sign on the back of law enforcement with his tweet that he shortly deleted and then proceeded to play the victim on. It's another reason why I don't like this guy. We didn't even got to talk about how he plays on the teams or anything like that. We can get into the whole GOAT talk later.
Right.
I mean, like, I got different reasons for not liking this guy, but I mean, I got it here. I could share it, but this is just.
Yeah, you have his tweet. I was gonna say if you could pull it up.
Oh yeah, I screenshotted it immediately because I knew he was gonna delete it. I was like, I'm gonna catch this dude to 4K. So I said LeBron get caught 4K for this. This ain't a joke.
That's the thing. I mean, he's literally saying you're next. And what does he mean by that? He's meaning either you're going to be the next Derek Chauvin and go to prison for life. And for what? LeBron, did you even watch the video? The girl legit about to stab another black girl. I thought we are supposed to like hold each other up. Like, this is the kind of thing, like, let's not continue with like the hood rat nonsense. Like, black people need to rise up from that. He's trying to hold black people down. Like, I'm so sick of that.
Exactly. You know what? This is a little drifting away, branching off from the topic, but what was most funny about this is, did you guys see what O.J. Simpson said, of all people?
God.
Why?
Yeah,
what did he say?
Oh, my goodness.
I agree with him.
Bro. You can't make it up.
I
go
agree
ahead,
with him.
Go ahead.
But you, of all people, telling somebody not to talk about a cop who used it or girls who used a knife? Yeah, that's just the comedy.
Bro,
the comedy, man.
Of all people, man, it's just, you have O.J. Simpson weigh in on this mess.
Oh, man.
AJ is lucky to be out of prison for not only those murders, but also the that whole memorabilia thing. He's lucky to be out of prison. I don't think he needs to comment on anything. Let's let him go find whatever piece he can find at this point.
Right. I'm like, bro, you need to be out of the spotlight and hide because all the stuff.
This guy should be off the grid. He needs to be off the grid because he's probably gonna go back again for something soon. Like, you know, like this, man. Murder is legal in the state of California. If y'all didn't know already, based on what that man's been able to get through insanity. Absolutely.
Right. Only if you run that many yards is murder illegal.
I did a whole research paper on that trial, man, and I was telling my brother about it today because he didn't understand why I was getting weak at O.J. Simpson's comments. And I was telling him, I said, man, I was went through with him. I was like, this dude, he got away with everything and anything.
Just because he was black. He got off because he was black.
Johnny Cochran.
Right.
Guess what? Johnny Cochran and what's his name? F. Lee Bailey. Those are some brilliant lawyers.
Yeah.
They are brilliant. I got to give it to them.
They was smooth.
Mm-hmm. They were smooth, man. But Judgment Day is coming soon. I'll tell you what, man. They're gonna have to answer eventually. Well, they're gonna have to answer.
Well, one of them are already dead, right? Johnny Cochran died in 2005.
Yeah, he's
so if he didn't repent, there you go with that one.
Yeah.
OJ has time to repent. That's all I can say. He has time to repent.
Yeah.
And say what he did. But
I quote this scripture often. It's in Ecclesiastes. I believe it's chapter either 8 or 11. And it says that because judgment is not executed speedily, it's set in the hearts of men to do evil because the judgment has not come yet. But I tell people all the time, God will not be mocked. He said, whatever you sow, you're going to reap. It's going to happen.
There you go.
Happen. They don't play.
That's Bible. That's Bible. You better preach.
It's going to happen. Man, this is like, it's going to happen. And here, back to LeBron, all right? This is a guy who hasn't been told no since he was 16 years old.
Right.
He has not been told no since he was 16 years old. He's had everything since then. Anything you could ever want. But he goes online and out here every time saying, man, we can't walk outside without having a target on our backs. I'll be hunted every day. No matter what, we're still going to be N-words. No matter what we do, no matter how. Bro, you're worth over $1 billion. Do you think people walk around that's just like, there's an N-word, that's that, bro? If that makes you an N-word, next time with us. What? Like what?
You walk around with your own personal escort. What do you have to be scared of? You're not speaking for anybody out here.
No, the person that should be scared is the guy that actually shoots LeBron if he ever gets shot, because of course it's going down for real.
This man, LeBron James, is speaking from, like, if you look up privilege in the dictionary, LeBron James is privileged. That is privilege. Like, I don't care what color he is, that man got more privilege than most white people. Like, if you combine every white person, every poor white person in this country, LeBron James has more privilege than all of them. It doesn't matter what his color is. This man can make millions of dollars playing a sport. No other country can you really do that. Can you make that much money? Even like massive sport, like the biggest celebrities in sports across the world, they don't make that much money. Only in the United States, which is that good of a country. So if we're that racist, honestly, LeBron, I don't know why you still live here. You got the money to go somewhere else. Go wherever is not racist, because he always wants to call out the United States, say how racist our system is.
You know what? Chris, I'm glad you mentioned that. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm glad you mentioned that, because he never says anything about communist China. Right. And here's the thing, China, and nothing against Chinese people, but China does not like black people.
That they don't. But I'll tell you what, we're gonna give a little bit on LeBron, because if we gave him a globe and a map, I tell you, bro, man probably couldn't point out where China was. I'm sorry, but I tell you, he probably
didn't graduate high school. He didn't graduate. So.
Yeah, they saw this man like just killing it on the court. They're like, "Hey, man, you just screw high school. What's an education? Just come on, we gonna start playing."
He got to high school, and he's in.
Yo, to play devil's advocate. Now, if you were in LeBron's shoes, what would you have done when you're 16 years old? You're killing it, and they're offering you millions of dollars to play. What would you have?
You take that. Absolutely. Don't be a fool. This is the American dream, man. This is the American dream.
I don't know if I'd be super woke now, to be honest, and calling out cops after saving somebody's life, but I'd be a millionaire. Yeah, man. If I was a little taller and a little faster, a little skinnier, maybe I'd be able to do that, but no, I don't know if I'd be as woke as LeBron James is right now.
And my biggest thing with all this is that it's not that necessarily you have the platform to advocate for these type of things, is that you don't keep that same energy only when it comes to black people.
He doesn't.
It's like, keep that same energy.
Yeah. Remember when he sent out the MLK tweet? Threat to justice anywhere. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I'm like, bro, you didn't keep that same energy for nothing. You didn't keep that energy for nothing, man. I'm like, man,
keep that energy.
Injustice anywhere. Well, come on, man. Like, what? Like,
right. It's like, if it happens to a white person, black, Latino, it doesn't matter. Keep that same energy. If you're about justice, it's justice for all, as the Pledge of Allegiance stands for. But it's not the case. It's only when somebody black is shot by a cop. But you won't even talk about it if it's black on black crime. But that's my biggest problem with the black community, is that you don't talk about when it's black on black crime. But as soon as it's a white person, oh my God. It's like you got people dying in Chicago 56 or 60 in a night, but nobody wants to talk about that. And it's all black on black crime.
You know what?
Like, these things happen in these people's communities all the time, and they don't take charge of their community like they're supposed to be a leader. You go be a community leader, you can't even take charge of your own community. A lot of these people can't even take charge of their own households. Hey, Dwayne Wade, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you right now. You can't even get your household in order. I'm gonna say it. You can't even get your household in order.
I feel bad for the Utah Jazz. If he can't manage your household, how are you going to help that man run a freaking team? So I feel bad for the Jazz.
It don't make any sense. And these people, we're supposed to look up to them as leaders of the community, as thought leaders, and all these great things that are going to provide everything that we need, and they're going to be beacons of the community to look up to. And these people ain't no good. They don't do anything. They look out for themselves. Their dollar comes first. It's profitable to crap on this country, to take money from foreign dictatorships and fascist regimes. It's very profitable. And only in America can you do that and crap on your government and everything that you hate within it, and then take money from a worse country and then just make bank off of it. Only in America can you do something like that. It's incredible. And then you don't even leave. And you stay here and continue to make money. You don't lose money. You make even more. That is America. That's
America.
That is wild, man. That is beyond wild. I'm just saying, like, how can only America make you literally go out there, rat on your own people, your government, everything going on within it, take money from a foreign dictator regime, and continue to make more money and refuse to leave the country that you're living in, that you claim to be so opposed to. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you say that oh man, why we Doc Rivers, man, we're all supposed to love America, but America don't love us. Like, oh man.
Total confusion.
America don't love you, man. How many of them wearing your jerseys? Shut up. Like, I hate that. America don't love me. Like, you are literally like top 5 most famous basketball players of all time.
All the time.
Like, come on now. America does love you. That's why you're a millionaire. Who you think is showing up? Chinese people? No, they're not coming to your games. No. LeBron James is just the biggest crybaby. I swear to God.
He is a big crybaby. Not just in regular stuff, in basketball too. He is the biggest crybaby. Period. Let him lose a few games. Watch, he cries. He cries all the time. Man, boo.
I'll tell you what, he gets whatever he wants out there, man. They fired how many coaches for him and got a whole new roster for him 2, 3, 4 times. And he still wasn't getting that ring until he finally got one. Mm-hmm. And then they went and switched everything up again. I mean, and then the guy leaves and everything too. That man gets whatever he wants it. But somehow he's still – actually, I want to try to find this tweet. I'm going to try to find this tweet he sent afterwards.
If I could just be LeBron for a day and just be able to cry and make millions whenever I want to.
For a day, man.
For one day.
You know how much money he makes in a day? Man, that's like I'm trying to do the math, but it's probably a lot. It's more money than I know.
Yeah, I know the OJ thing was probably like top tier as far as like comedy, like and stuff you can't believe that somebody actually said. But LeBron responded to his tweet. He responded after he deleted it. Let's see what exactly he says. And he says, wait, let me see what it says. Come on, where's it at? I'm trying to find this exact tweet here. But man, he legit played. Oh man. He said that he took his tweet down because it was stirring up more hate from everybody around him and everything. That's not what we need right now. When we're like, Julio, the hate was only coming from one location, my brother. It was only coming from
we don't need any more hate. You read your tweet? What was that? That was hate. That was 100% hate. You didn't watch the video. You can just tell. You know, somebody like one of his like assistants probably was like, "Hey, LeBron, you see all these tweets you getting? Did you watch that video?" He's like, "Nah, man, what video? Somebody just sent that to me. I just tweeted it out." Like, come on, LeBron.
I just tweeted it.
Like, honestly, I would say he's better than this, but he's not. He's actually trash. Like, I'm not a LeBron fan. I don't watch basketball, but I just never liked LeBron. He just seems like just a bad person. Just like, I don't know, a diva.
I got you right here. I just found it. I found the tweet. We're good. So let's put this up because this is unbelievable, man. This guy really be on it. Says, I'm so damn tired of seeing black people killed by police. I took the tweet down because it's being used to create more hate. This isn't about one officer. It's about the entire system, and they always use our words to create more racism. I'm so desperate for more accountability. Okay, like, there's a lot to unpack here, man. I'm tired of seeing black people killed by police. I'm tired of seeing black people kill other people. For a fact, I'm tired of seeing people kill people. I'm tired of seeing police having to kill black people. I'm tired of seeing, black people kill black people. I'm tired of all this mess. So let's single out one minuscule detail here. Let's put one little thing in here. Let's just put one little part in there. Sure thing. And this isn't about one officer. It's about the entire system. So now we're saying it's systemic. Okay. Now this is the whole thing. If we're going to unpack this, right? He says it's systemic. In order for something to be systemic, there has to be empirical evidence reflecting the system. And that means that there's got to be a substantial percentage. We're talking like 25, 30, 40, 50, so like, and a correlation between it, like consistently going through it. We're looking at a system here. We're talking system. So that means there has to be a system. And he doesn't know the facts that it would take nearly 40 years cops shooting black people equal the number of black people killing each other each year. But we don't talk about that, those numbers for real. You're going to talk about those numbers, though. And I'm desperate for more accountability. You talk about accountability, fool. Let's look in the mirror now. We're going to talk about this accountability up in here.
Be held accountable for your words, bro.
Man, you'd be talking about wanting to be the figure. You want to be the man. You want to be the Barack Obama of the current day right now. And you're going to hold yourself to that standard and police yourself that way.
He can't be the Barack Obama of the current day.
He wants to be, man. He literally wants to be. He wants to step
how?
up.
Barack is still living, and he living his best life.
Well, this guy wants to take over. He wants to be president of the culture, man. He wants to run it.
Well, when he can win as many as Michael Jordan won, then he can talk. Until then, he needs to shut up.
Well, you know what I want to see? I want to see him get sued by that cop for defamation. That's what I want to see.
There you go.
That'd be brilliant.
That would be, oh my God. Let that cop get some of that sweet NBA money. Oh, you know what would be really ironic?
That is a civil suit. That is civil suit money for sure.
What if that cop was like a LeBron fan or something? He's like, come on, man. Like he's like, I saved her,
He is from Columbus, and that's not far from Cleveland.
Could be. You never know.
There's a lot of hate LeBron fans in Cleveland, though. I'll tell you what, though. After the first time, some people still didn't love him. Some people gave him the second chance, and then he left again. I think when you burn the bridge a second time, I feel like people.
But he has a school there. Doesn't he have a school somewhere around here?
Yeah. Oh, the school that's partially funded by the government. That one that still takes taxpayer dollars.
I didn't know it was partially funded by the government. I thought it was private.
No, it ain't a total private school now. Yeah, it's not. No, they still take federal money. I wish it wasn't. I feel like it could be a whole lot better if it was totally private. And I have no doubt in my mind he can make it totally private and do his thing. But that's his money. He's going to spend it his way. So whatever. But I just make it totally private. You can bring a lot more happen. Bring a lot more good things out of them kids. Make the education good. But sure thing. But yeah, man, I think he's definitely got a civil suit on his hands. You don't put the picture up of the man and everything, put a target on his back, endangerment, job. Now you can't go do your job because you think somebody's going to come out there and stab you in the back. Like literally, you think somebody's going to go out there and stab you in the back? Literally, like man, I'd sue him and say I can't work now, and I'd take a million minimum. I'd be asking for $1 million minimum.
Not $1 million. Get half of his money. But that's just me. I'm a little out there.
Be like a bitter ex-wife, take half his money.
He asked for all of it.
Isn't he? It wasn't the officer like 23 years old, and he's only been on the force for a few months. I think he was 23.
I don't know.
I do not know the answer to that.
I don't know. But if the officer is 23, that's the best part of a person's life. You know,
I don't think he's that young. I'm not exactly certain, but he's been on that particular police force since like October or something like that.
So he's just, he's not the most experienced cop. He's not hasn't been on the force for 25 years or anything like that. Obviously, he didn't look that old, but I really think that people can't really condemn the officer. Just this is the last thing I'm gonna say on it. You can't condemn the officer. It is a negative situation all around, and I feel bad for the young woman who had to lose her life. But I was talking to my girlfriend about this. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's essentially what happened here. And it's very unfortunate, but I can't like out of logic just be like, oh man, I try to hold those emotions back because I have a daughter and I imagine how immensely painful that is to lose a daughter, and I couldn't bear that, but she brought it on herself, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad. It was a foster kid. It was a foster kid.
Yeah,
and that's a bigger issue in itself. There, boom. It's like a foster kid did this. Wait, that means they didn't have real parents. That means, oh shoot, that is like boom, and then like now we're looking at like, man, what's a real issue here now? Parents aren't raising their kids. Parents don't raise their kids. Kids act up. Kids act up without being disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Kids do crazy things. Do something crazy like that, and it doesn't end well. It's bad. Man.
It's just unfortunate. It's
not good.
That's all I can say.
It's not good at all. It's awful. No. Oh, it's bad news in itself. But I mean, we're looking at the big issue here, man. We're having kids that I don't say they don't know any better, but nobody told them any better, and they're going off and running amok.
What's ridiculous is like, at 15, somebody got to tell you not to stab somebody. Like, it's kind of wild because at 15, I think I knew not to stab somebody. Like, I don't know this young woman's past and what happened in her past. She's obviously didn't have the best life. She's in a foster home, but it's like, at what point are we going to say like you are old enough to understand that this is wrong? I'm not saying like if she lived she should have got like tried as an adult. I'm not saying that, but she's obviously old enough to know you don't stab people. Like you just can't do that. And so she really got it. She got what it came to her.
Well, you had two 13-year-olds in DC crashed the Uber Eats driver and killed him. Two 13-year-olds.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest thing was, too, is that the cops arrived. When the cops arrived, even if it was self-defense, as they stated it was, that's highly debatable. But even if it was self-defense, as they said it was, then what she should have done was allow the cops to do their job.
100%. She called the police. And the smartest thing to do would have been to just stay in her house. But from the story I heard that they were coming to jump her. But now, Christian, from what you were telling me, and now it seemed like they all lived there. I don't know all the facts, but it really seems like she should have just stayed inside. I saw other tweets where people were like, you should have tased her. It's like people imagine like tasers are like just this magical weapon that just instantly stuns you. Like, do you know what happens when your muscles constrict and you have a knife in your hand? Like, what you think that's gonna just stop her? I mean, like she was a bigger woman jerking towards her with a knife. Like, I feel like tasing her.
Distance.
Yeah, people just
think
think
if you miss, if it fails, somebody's getting stabbed. Okay.
Yeah, and you can die from. It's not a video game. People think like stabbing is just like no. It's really dangerous to get stabbed. You can die.
It's something vital, a vital organ. It could be over. You rupture something big in there, you're done. It's done.
Exactly.
It's over. You know, it's bad news. You're done. That's all there is to that. So.
And what people don't realize too is that police officers, when they see a level of force, you have to use a level of force above that one. So if they have a knife, you always use a gun. You never go below what they're using.
Yep. I mean, people just want to put criminals above police officers in almost every situation. And mostly it's because they're black. They're like, oh, there's a black guy, black girl, got to put them above the cop's life. Like, I understand that. Like, cops are out there, but like, cops aren't out there to die. Like, yeah, they're putting their lives in the line, serving the community, but they're not out there with the intention to die. If somebody's gonna like inflict bodily harm on somebody else or themselves, themselves as I'm referring to the officer, then they're gonna respond. The officer's gonna respond with force to neutralize that threat. They're not gonna just take the chance of themselves getting stabbed or an innocent person getting stabbed. They're not gonna take that. It's just it's an unfortunate situation. It really is.
I mean, it's really bad. But the biggest thing here too is that if there's an incident and I as a concealed carry holder and I have my weapon on me and there's something I call the police or this and that, you think I'm going to come up to the police with a fully loaded gun ready to go with them? No. If the police are responding to a call that I called about and I'm armed, I'm probably not coming out with my weapon, or it's unloaded, or it's totally like out of sight, out of mind when they come up on me or anything, or it's in a place where they can see it and find it. I'm not going to come up there wielding a knife and then trying to do something. Like, it's just when calling police, even like when you're instructed on getting a concealed carry weapon and you shoot somebody, do you think the first thing is when the cops come up, you should be still holding the gun and doing everything with? No, you probably shouldn't still be holding the gun and pointing it anywhere because they don't know that you're the good guy. If the cops show up to a call and you have a knife, how do they know that you're the good person? How do they know that you're the person?
Exactly.
Like, they don't know. How are they supposed to? How are they supposed to know? They don't. They get a call from dispatch. Dispatch talks to them. That's all they know. They get brief details and then they're off and running because time is of the essence because they have to be there. So it's like, oh, how do they like?
Exactly.
They don't know how this stuff works, man. They're just there. So like, yeah, like.
And I think that's the biggest disconnect in our society is that people don't know law enforcement procedures. You know, it's like, this is what we need to educate people on. It's like what law enforcement does. They're like, oh, they need more training. It's like, how do you know they need more training if you don't even know what they do during their training in the first place? Who are you to say? You don't even know what they do. You don't even know the procedures. And I think this is the biggest problem because cops literally are getting accused for murder and things of that nature all the time, but they're doing their job. It's like, that's a part of their job. If you took this particular instance, you took it to court, he's going to be justified. There was nothing wrong that he did. Nothing. There's nothing different he could have done. There was nothing wrong that he did. It was exponentially like, sir, like that's what we want cops to do.
Yeah. The whole thing is in those situations, people are like, it's just, and it sucks here because it's damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Right.
Here's the whole thing here. He doesn't do anything if somebody gets stabbed. Why didn't he do nothing? Why didn't he help? Why didn't he do this, that? Cops are good for nothing. They don't help anybody. They don't save any lives. Shoots her. Cops, all they do is shoot people. They kill everybody. They're good for nothing. They don't save lives. Like, what are you gonna? You can't win. You can't please everybody. Their job isn't to please everybody. Their job's to protect and serve here.
Right.
And at the end of the day, they got to use their best judgment to go ahead and do so. But as people, the civilians, we got to know when you call the police, what the best thing to do is and where you should be, what you shouldn't be doing in order to identify yourself the police when something like this is going on. You probably, shouldn't be, after an altercation happens, you shouldn't probably be carrying a gun, approaching a police officer. You probably shouldn't be wielding a knife, approaching a police officer or of anything of the sort, if that's the case. Saying, hey, I'm the good guy. Like, they don't know you, bro. They do not know you. Like, that's not, they're not going to respond. Like, I wouldn't respond friendly to somebody. I pull up on somebody I don't know and they're walking out with a knife or a gun. You think I'm going to say, oh, hey, how you need help? Oh, okay. Like, no. Just take it from a random civilian. Like you're walking up on somebody with a knife saying, "Hey, I need help." Like, yo, like, hey man, like, you what? Like, just crazy. Man, so we're gonna segue into this. Omar, Vernon Jones is running for governor in Georgia, apparently looking to unseat Brian Kemp himself.
Yes. So apparently, President Trump, former President Trump, has a target list. He is targeting people that he feels are either not good for the party or weren't loyal to the party or loyal to the cause of defeating the left or for whatever reason. But at the top of his list was Brian Kemp. And if you look at Vernon Jones's stories on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever, you saw he spent a lot of time with Trump. And now and a few weeks ago, he said, okay, I have a big announcement coming up. Now we know what it is. He is primarying Brian Kemp for the governorship of Georgia. And from what I've heard on the inside, it's not going to be pretty. This is not going to be a pretty fight because Brian Kemp he's gained some momentum with the whole voter law that was just passed in Georgia. But people also feel like Brian Kemp is not representing him well. So people are flocking to Vernon Jones. I don't know what's going to happen. But personally, I feel like,
Is it a close primary? I just want to know for like election purposes here.
Close primary. No, I want to say it might be an open primary.
Okay.
I never did. I wasn't able to vote in the primary in Georgia. I did vote in the general when I was there. So I don't exactly know. I want to say it's open. I want to say, but I could be wrong. But my personal opinion, no matter who wins or who loses, I don't think either of them can beat Stacey at this point. I'm sorry. That's my thing. If they do, thank God, because God intervenes.
I hear you, but a lot of people, especially in the ATL, they're blaming Stacey Abrams for not getting this All-Star game and for losing their black money coming in to the community.
Is that enough? But is that enough to push through another year and a half? We got a year and a half for this general.
They could forget. I mean, I hope they wouldn't, but they could forget.
People, Americans are so forgetful. They will not remember that. In another year and a half, they're gonna be like, all right, so it's a Republican or black lady, Stacey Abrams, Democrat. They're gonna vote for Stacey Abrams, and it's unfortunate. Georgia looks like it's gonna become, like it's shifting that way. Which is unfortunate, but we just gotta make more states red. How we're gonna do that? Good question. We'll work on it.
The party has terrible leadership. Apparently, I was contacted by the Savannah Freedom Exchange, and the lady was explaining to me how bad the party was and archaic rules of order that they have to go through to change a whole bunch of stuff. And I can't remember it all, but I'm telling you, man, it's so disorganized and it has so much bad leadership there. Honestly, I've been told they could have found someone better than Brian Kemp to run when Brian Kemp was Secretary of State. The expectation for most people is if Stacey wins, Stacey's going to win, but the lieutenant governor should be red. A down ballot it'll be red. The state house and the state senate will still be red. It's super majority red. So unless the governor's office has power, Stacey can't do much.
They're already conceding the election already. They're already planning for it.
I wouldn't say they're doing that openly, but in private, they're like, it doesn't look good. Now, then again, we're not in November yet. Heck, we're not even in August of next year yet when the primary is supposed to happen. So things could change. I'm hoping they do. I'm hoping they do for the better. But now, personally, I am excited because I like Vernon Jones. I got to meet him at a Trump rally. He's awesome. I think his policy positions, some of them need to change. because you got to go by the man's voting record. He was a voting Democrat. He had more of a conservative record, but there were things like the anti-abortion bill, the heartbeat bill. I'm sorry, the heartbeat bill. He voted against it, but he says he's pro-life. Why he voted against it, I don't know. He has to explain that. But am I so excited? Yes, because honestly, even though I think he still may lose to Stacey Abrams, I think he's the best shot of beating her. I'm sorry. It's going to take a black person to beat another black person. Now, that I hate identity politics. I think it's terrible, but maybe we have to start playing again.
It's the world we live in.
But it just, if there's an R next to your name, it's over, bro. It don't matter.
I don't know. I feel like
you don't matter.
Anymore.
Don't play that.
I feel like if you have a reputation beforehand, now Vernon Jones, I'm not saying he does, but I'm saying I feel like if you're a black person with enough reputation in the black community, then you could uphold and say, like, look, y'all, I was there, you know me, I just because I believe this side, then I feel like you can bring people to the table. But if you're just
that's gonna hurt in that regards because they really don't like him. The people in the blue that vote blue really don't like Trump, and when they see that he was. This whole push has been initiated by the former president himself. Vernon spoke, introducing the president and endorsing him and everything. Like, it's going to be tough. I mean, I don't see him latching onto him like that.
Yeah,
I just don't see it happening.
I feel like Georgia is just going.
But I think the whole thing though, we have three issues I think in this country that we're going to have to reconcile. And things that I don't know if you guys can be on board with this or not. The biggest one thing I think is weak leadership. That's number one. Two is like locking up our elections and making sure that they're actually securing that there's no such stuff happening. And then three, securing the southern border. If we don't do any those three things, I don't think we have a shot at winning anything. If we have losers in office that aren't going to fight for us, if we don't have a secure election system, if we don't secure the southern border, where a whole bunch of people that we don't know are coming in and are being potential voters in the state of California. Yes, they are voting. Yes, I said it. Ban me. I don't care. They are voting. None of this matters anymore. And if we don't do any of those three things, I think we're in trouble.
I think Vernon is a fighter, though. I believe he's a fighter.
I think so. I have high hopes for him.
But you gotta look at it. Vernon Jones is like bottom of the rung Republican. I mean that. Like, he's not top priority of the party. Like, honestly, right now, Trump really isn't even. Like, Trump is just a populist. Like, that's really it. He has no real power in the party anymore. Like, he can come and he has the power of his massive army, but other than that,
I would disagree because he's the one raising money for the Republican Party right now. His name is writing checks to the Republican Party right now.
I mean, I guess I mean more like people calling the shots for the Republican Party, but I see what you're saying. So yeah, Trump
it's not just that, Christian. Think about it like this: in 2016, when Hillary lost to President Trump, who really led the Democratic Party, even if it was behind the scenes? It was still Barack Obama. He was still the face. He was still the leader. He called. Heck, people were really high on Keith Ellison from Minnesota on being the Democratic chair at that point. Tom Perez, who was a secretary of, I think, Labor. I believe he was Labor secretary under Obama. Became the Democratic chair. Why? Because Barack Obama wanted him there. Trump wanted Romney McDaniel still there. Trump still runs that party. And Trump will run the party until there's another standard bearer that, it could, well, if it's a weak standard bearer, Trump will still run the party. But if it's a strong standard bearer in 2024, whether that be Trump or DeSantis or whomever, Tom Cotton, I don't know. But until there's another standard bearer that is the nominee for president, it's Trump's party.
Sonny, I gotta have you weigh in, man. So what you thinking?
Can you hear?
You there? You hear us?
You're breaking up.
Can you hear us, man?
Oh, he said we're breaking up.
We're breaking up. Yo, pop back in real quick, see if we can. But we were gonna have you weigh in on this. Let me see you can hop in here.
I'd say type it in the chat.
Yeah, let's get him in there. But I mean, no, I think he definitely does. My whole thing was I think Ronna McDaniel's not the greatest idea to run the Republican Party, man. I don't. She's weak sauce for me. I don't think she's done.
She's weak, but Trump wanted her there. Whoever was the former standard bearer of either party, and I'll say this: Hillary Clinton was on with Tom Perez because everyone had to latch to Barack Obama after that loss. Everyone has to latch to Trump because Trump is he runs the party. Mm-hmm. That's how party politics works. It shouldn't work that way. They should have elected a new leader if the party wanted to keep Romney McDaniel. If they really wanted to keep her, then they should have had the choice without the influence of the former president or the former standard bearer of the party. But that's just how party politics works.
It's grimy, man. What do you think, Sonny? Well, we're just basically here going off. I mean, putting Ronna McDaniel in charge of the RNC and the Republican Party. I mean, I'm not thrilled with how 2020 ended. I don't know why we still want her any capacity to do with it, but it beats me.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree too.
You hear us? You hear us good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, you hear us? Yeah,
right.
Man. I mean, we're going into Bernie Jones. I mean, I think he's got a tough road to hoe with this whole situation and everything. But I mean, I think he's maybe a decent shot at it here. So going into this last part here before we cut this off, man. So I'd always thought that we were going to have Black Spider-Man, before anything. Yeah, but apparently, man, we didn't get Black Spider-Man. It didn't really happen unless you count Miles Morales. That wasn't a real Spider-Man. But we got Black Captain America, man. And Black Captain America apparently is woke. But it's 2021. Man, what do you expect? Man, so I'm not even watching this series. I haven't even dipped into any of this at all yet. I mean, what can y'all tell me about this? Because, I mean, some of the viewers here might have already seen some, but I haven't seen any of this going on.
Well, I could take this one.
Yeah, let's Sonny roll on this. What you got on this, Sonny?
Yeah.
No, I'll just say if you don't want to hear the spoilers, then don't listen. But
let me just
it's it's Disney, man, and with all these big corporations, especially the ones that make the movies, of course they're gonna make it woke. And this is how they try to reach out to the people in their own way, I guess. And what we're finding, especially in the Winter Soldier and Captain America, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, is that he's becoming, Captain America because the other guy got it taken from him in the show, and it's all because of there was a guy in the show who got the serum and became, a soldier, and he was put in jail and all this stuff because he was black, and so they're trying to have this black, Captain America, and it basically it's not like because of they weren't skilled or nothing like that. It's basically predicated on skin color, and that's what the ending of the show is about. Is all predicated on their skin color, and that he's black. That's the reason why there hasn't been any black Captain America, not because of performance or anything of that nature. And it's kind of sad to see, like everything doesn't have to be woke. You know what I mean? Like keep it out the movies and in the TV shows. In my opinion, like we don't need. This wokeness. The show would be fine without it. Like it isn't. I would never have thought that, Anthony Mackie couldn't become the Captain America because he's black. Like that doesn't enter into a logical person's head, until you push it into it, and then it just promulgates through our society that we're always behind, And this is what young people, especially I find nowadays, and I work at a college and I deal with a lot of young people, is that. Everything they're seeing in our shows, like I don't know if you've seen this, is drifting a little bit on top of it, like All American. Was a bunch of wokeness in that show, and all the shows coming out today are a bunch of wokeness, and is making black people feel like, cops are against us. We got all these people suppressing us, white privilege, and it starts with what we see and what we view, and obviously the movies are a big thing, and so this wokeness is. I feel like, especially in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like it just shouldn't be there. Like we'd be fine without it.
Yeah, I don't see viewers ever asking for more inclusion. I mean, unless you're, just the wackos, but they don't say, why isn't there black? Like, I don't see like there's a giant cry for any of this happening. They always just seem to inject that stuff into everything.
Exactly.
It's never been asked for. Like, gosh, like we need a Jim Crow racism story into Captain America. I don't think anybody asked for that. Like,
nobody. And the Oscars are woke. We didn't have enough colored people in the movies and winning awards. And it's like, you win awards off performance, not skin color. I don't know how that's the top. Yeah, what's up, Omar?
I'm about to burst your bubble. The new Thor movie that's coming out in a couple of years. Of course, they named it after Thor because it's Thor. He's not dead yet, right? But it really is going to focus on Tessa Thompson because he passed on the kingship to her character, Valkyrie. And Valkyrie, Tessa Thompson is black, right? She is going to find her queen in that. So it gets even more woke. MCU is about to get even more woke. Now, am I fine with Anthony Mackie being... Huh? Yes, that is the plot. I don't even know how Thor fits in or Guardians of the Galaxy because... as you saw in the Avengers Endgame, he's out in space with the Guardians. So I don't know how they're going to fit any of this crap in. But MCU is getting more woke. I'm fine with Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie is actually one of my favorite actors. I think he's a really good actor. But and also I'm not real big on the whole representation thing. If I like something on TV, I'm going to watch it. Period. Mm-hmm. I don't care about the representation thing. I like the fact we have a black Captain America now. I do. I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, I don't need it.
Right.
I don't need to necessarily see that in order to see black people as who we are, as strong and powerful, and this country is actually for us, and we can do anything we want, and we can be anything we want. Or that's not necessarily inspiring. Is it nice to see? Sure, but I don't necessarily need it.
Yeah. As you said, touching on what you said about, it's good to see. Like I want to see, like anytime you watch the show, you do want the diversity in the characters and the plot, and all that stuff. But particularly with the cinematic universe, and then obviously I thought he was going to become Captain America anyway when he got the shield from from Chris Evans. I was like, okay, cool. He's going to become Captain America. It never came to my mind, because he's black. But he was always there with Captain America, so that's what I thought.
And it was portrayed like it wasn't even portrayed with race at the end of Endgame. It was like, okay, friend, you've been my friend since I got defrosted or whatever. Since I came out the ice, you've been my friend. You've had my back. You had my back in Civil War against Tony Stark. You have my back now. I think you can carry on this mantle. Not as a black person, but as my friend and as a good dude, without the serum. So
right.
And it was originally like that, but now MCU wants to capitalize on this wokeness.
I mean, and we even in this, like I said, it's branching out a little bit. But I don't know if you guys watched The Bachelor at all, but they had the first black, bachelor for the first time. Oh my God! That whole show was woke by the end of it. The girl came out. The girl he was about to marry came out that she was at an antebellum plantation party, a couple of years back, and then they basically canceled the host, Chris Harris, canceled him, got a new host, and then had it and he literally dumped her because of this. Like he was literally he didn't get engaged, and I mean I feel like there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff with that too, but I won't go on to that. But literally. Yeah. His reasoning for stop talking to her was because she did not know that was racist or that propagated racism. I'm just like, I wasn't supposed to know that.
Actually, just recently I hosted Jordan Kimball off of The Bachelor, who was on I've never watched The Bachelor, but he was on like Bachelor in Paradise, I think is the other one that he won, and he got engaged on that one. And he was talking about that and the whole the girl who went to the antebellum party and stuff like that. And it really is like this woke culture and cancel culture as well comes into it. I feel like they're neck and neck. You know, it's two sides of the same coin. It's either you're woke or you're canceled. And now I'm not saying the girl going to antebellum party is like all cool. It's a little sus, but I'm not saying it's a like she's racist.
Right.
It's a little sus, you know. I mean, it's just a little like, well, why you need to do that? I mean, like my Holocaust themed wedding, that was kind of weird too. But you know, whatever. It's just my own opinion. But I'm not going to cancel her for it. Like apparently the dude liked her enough to like almost get engaged. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, you know, we jumped off just a little bit off the topic too, but in essence, all these shows are, you know, Hollywood in and of itself is just woke, and we're going to find that more and more as more they come out. And actually, you know, I don't even watch a lot of stuff hardly anymore because, you know, it just gets annoying when you see it, and then you got to like nobody cares. Like I don't want to see that. Like, you know, I don't want to see this wokeness, you know. And as a person of color, you know, who thinks logically, and I'm all about emotion, it's like, you know, there's things I think we can fix in our society, but this is not the way to go about it. Trying to push it into shows to teach the younger generation. It's not helping anything.
So, Sonny, have you ever seen Queen Sugar?
I have not.
I watched it. I binge watched it because you know
shows that nobody's ever heard of before.
No, Queen Sugar
shows that nobody's never heard of.
It's based off of a book. I can't remember the author, but it's about a black family that owns a sugarcane farm in Louisiana. And it's created by Ava DuVernay. And if you don't know who that is, that's the woman who did Now They See Us, talking about the four kids that were in Central Park, or was it 5? They were in Central Park. Apparently, they raped a woman. They went to jail and things of that nature. But yeah, Queen Sugar has gotten so woke now because Ava DuVernay is woke. It's her show. And for people who are familiar with the show that are watching, I had to stop watching it this season because I kind of enjoyed the other seasons, but this season, of course, they're talking about George Floyd and they have the mask on and they're talking about coronavirus. I'm like, I really don't want to watch that part, but it got to me. I kept watching it, but it got to me when they were talking to the boy. They have a young boy. He's probably about 8, maybe 10 years old at this point in the show. And they're sending him down talking about BLM, talking about how to conduct yourself with the police. They had a run-in with the police. And apparently the police almost killed his dad. And the boy is having nightmares that he is going to get killed by the police. After that, I cut the TV off and I said, goodness gracious Lord. Now you're putting in the kids' heads. You got kids and adults watching this, and
right,
and now it's putting into whatever kid or whatever young adult is watching this. It's putting into their head fear the police. Fear the police. You're having nightmares about the police.
That's just nonsense, man.
Yeah, and it seems like it goes either two ways. It's either fear the police or F the police. You know, you get these things that you get stopped by the police, and it's fear like, oh, I'm about to die, or like you said, it gets both, and then you got the, oh, who are you? You think you are? I gotta obey anything you say, and then when the repercussion hits them, they're like all surprised. But as you mentioned, it's because what they've seen is what their parents taught them. My parents taught me to respect the police. When you get pulled over, do what they said. If they get you out of the car, just do what they say, and you'll be fine. I got pulled over for my first time, and the cop was so nice. I got one ticket in my life, and I've been pulled over many times. And I surely deserved a ticket every time I got pulled over. But, you know, you just, how you doing, sir? You know, give them your license registration. There's no problems. It's like, you know, the whole narrative that cops are out to get black folks. And it's like, that has never been the case. And statistically proven, never been the case. Like this.
And in these high-profile cases, it's never a clear-cut, just totally innocent, this or that. Like, it's never just a cookie cutter. Oh, you got pulled over, something easy. Like, there's always something messing it up in the mix, whether it's fentanyl, drugs in the system, or this and that. Like, it's never just a clear black and white. Like, there's always something muffling it up or whatever, and it's never just like, you know, just a normal everyday average. Like, it's always something just muffling it, man. Yeah. I just, you know, it's never just a clear cut, easy going situation where you can just clearly identify everything right off the bat. You can't. None of this stuff that ever makes it is just Nah, none of it's ever like that.
Don't fit the narrative, man.
Never, man. Never, man. So if you guys are tired of watching that woke nonsense, I got something great for y'all tomorrow night. UFC 261 in Jacksonville. There will be a full crowd. Masks are optional. Word by Governor himself, America's Governor, Ron DeSantis. Look at that man. That's a champion right there. You're gonna have Jorge Masvidal repping the 305, fighting Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare. It's gonna be something else, man. There's 3 title fights gonna happen. These guys don't do any of the woke nonsense, man. They fight big time. Jorge Masvidal himself is a big fan of the president. He doesn't like communists. He fights big from the Cuban background out here. Everybody loves him. I'm rooting hard for him. And Kamaru Usman, man, immigrant mentality from Nigeria, man. And he's got a crazy story as well. And just all of it, man. These guys are going out there laying everything on the line, and you don't see them on social media crying to BLM every second. And it's a really great thing to see. It's really, really cool. These guys are awesome. Definitely want to check it out. Can't miss them. So
nice.
I got to plug it, man. Those fights are going to be off the charts tomorrow. So I'm definitely going to be tuning in for that.
Smooth.
Man, you got to watch that. And, yeah, man, I want to kind of wind it down here. A little bit of where we at here. Boom, the final thoughts here. Any of y'all watched the Jake Paul and Ben Askren fight this last weekend?
Yeah. I watched the minute that it lasted.
Right.
Yo, man, hey. I totally bought that live stream. Wink. Just like this is a can of soup for my family. Wink. You know, like just the same way, like just exactly like that. I totally paid for that live stream when I watched that.
I saw it free on YouTube, bro.
I saw it on TikTok. That's how short the fight was. I saw it on TikTok.
Oh man, I was thoroughly disappointed, man. Being a member of the wrestling community and watching Ben Askren go out there and just. Did
you not think he was going to? You didn't think you thought he was going to win?
Bro, I put a little bit of money on it, just a little bit.
No,
I mean, me and my buddy just put a few dollars. It was just a few bucks here, but like I was still disappointed.
I will give it to Jake Paul.
I'll give it to Jake Paul. Man,
he got hands, man. He got hands. Like he ain't the most proficient boxer I've ever seen, but he has hands. And Ben Askren. One of the commentators speak built like a
That's the problem. He ain't never had hands. Ben ain't never had hands, man.
No. Dude got hit once, and they're like, "Oh, he's done. He's done." I'm like,
see, I want to see Jake Paul fight somebody who can fight. Like that's what I want to see. Like somebody who's
Logan's fighting Floyd.
It's
official.
Is that happening?
It's official. It came out either yesterday or today. It's official in June. He's fighting Floyd Mayweather, bro. And I will tell you this: I don't think Logan's as good as Jake. He's going to get knocked, slapped out.
No, Logan, he's not focused in his craft as well as Jake is.
He's not as ambitious in the sense of like when it comes to fighting. I feel like he's like, I don't really want to hurt them type mentality. You know, like when people are big like that, they have that mentality. Sometimes it's like, ooh, I'm too strong for my own self. You know, like I don't want to hurt this dude. And you've seen that in the fight with KSI and the other guy he had to fight.
Yeah.
But with Jake, Jake has even a better, fighting style than Logan. Now, if it was Jake and Floyd, of course he was going to lose. But it would be a sight to see. You know what I'm saying? With Logan, I feel like he's going to get knocked out in the first 2 or 3 rounds. Like he's going to get
fun. But the thing is, I'm going to mark my words here. We're going to walk. We'll roll this back. We'll roll the tapes back. I don't think that Floyd and Logan is going to sell as many pay-per-views as Jake and Ben Askren did. I don't think it's going to sell as many pay-per-views.
No, because Logan's not going to hype it up like Jake. Jake, I'll give it to him. He knows how to market.
Hey, oh my gosh, he was pumping right after he fought Nate Robinson. He was tweeting at Joe Biden, Donald Trump, like literally everybody. Conor McGregor, he tweeted everybody and their mother that he could, and just going after every single person that he could think of, just trying to like, who's next? Like this guy, just calling out everybody, just trying to get out rolling. And now he trains with Sugar Shane Mosley out at Big Bear. Now he lives in Miami. Apparently, he's training out here. I'm pretty sure he moved out to Florida literally for the tax break and for no state income tax. Like, I'm sure he just moved everything out here just for that reason.
Right.
And you gotta, honestly.
Yeah,
but
he made the big move. But no, I'll give it to him. But he's gonna. I mean, if he really wants to, settle it all, he's gonna have to fight somebody who's got some sort of credibility in the biz here. But I mean. Yeah, it's fun to watch a little bit at least. I'm like, this dude's really gonna come out here and man.
It's entertaining, but I want to see some high stakes, like Ben Askren. Yeah, but I mean, he's not a boxer. He never was a boxer. No. Like, fight some, like, and I'm not trying to discredit Jake Paul. Like, good for him. The man made a lot of money off this fight, win or lose. He made a lot of money. He's growing his brand. Good on him. He's smart. But I do want to see him fight somebody who's a little bit better in the ring. And I think that'd be funny. And I knew Oscar would say that. So Oscar, glad you stuck around for this one.
Oscar dropping bands over here. I'll put 10,000. I mean, I don't think I do that one, Oscar. I think that's a bit much.
I wonder what the odds are on that fight. Logan Paul versus Mayweather.
Yeah, if it's an exhibition, I don't even think. Can you put odds on that? I don't even know. Like, I don't know.
That's a good question.
That's gonna be, I'm not totally sold on the fact, but no, I mean, those guys it's fun, but they've kind of, and that's the one thing is that, as much as you're like, it's annoying and everything, like they have, internalized and kind of went all out in the American dream. Just two random kids from Ohio that literally made multiple streams of income from their clothing lines to producing YouTube content to fighting to Jake making music to doing like all this stuff, the podcasts and all this other nonsense. And they are millionaires. And they did it all just from starting a YouTube channel, just going off and creating a whole brand.
Right.
Branding yourself is something else. And it's not like trying to be like, be yourself and then create a brand behind it. And if people like you and like mess with you like that, dude, like you can make something happen. Those guys
you can make some big bucks.
You can, man. I'm not saying it's always the best idea because some of them go stupid with it, but they went off on that level. No, you got Snoop Dogg, commentating on your fighting and stuff. I'm like, you got Snoop out there. Like, that's just, I don't know how they come up.
He's a great commentator, dude. He's a great storyteller.
Funny, man. That was funny. And Mario Lopez. I was like, man, they got Mario here too. And
they got Mario
and Oscar De La Hoya too, but he was a mess. I feel bad, man. He needs help.
Yeah,
I think he needs help. He's bad.
Yeah,
he needs help.
Yeah, I agree. And then Pete Davidson, but he need help too.
Oh no, Jake said he's clipped. Jake says he's never doing that again. After he was talking that mess, he's like, I don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
he said,
I don't blame him. He two-faced, man. He came in there Jacqueline high.
He was like talking everything they wanted to hear, and then he went into Ben's locker room. Was like, yeah, he's just not a good person, a terrible human being. Like he's like ranting and crapping on Jake Paul's image like in its entirety. I'm like, man, and just like just like totally going off. So yeah. Is he actually the owner, or does he just have a stake in it, like with the promoter?
Me and Oscar were talking about this last week or the week before that.
Does he actually?
I'm pretty sure he started the company Triller that put on the fight.
I remember Triller years back. There's no way Jake didn't start it.
Or he bought it. Oscar knows more than I do. He was telling me about this.
Yeah,
he's my Jake Paul informant. I don't know.
I know Oscar's been on this guy since I remember meeting him in 2017. Oscar's been on this wave for almost 4 years. Like it's very, very like
the Paul wave. But I mean, I got from Oscar's telling me, like, honestly, the way that these guys make money, I mean, like, it's just like, honestly, I respect it. I respect the grind. I respect the branding. I'm like, I eventually would like to be honestly, I don't want to be famous like that, but I would like to be rich like them. That'd be nice.
Yeah, just don't show up to a looting fest in Scottsdale, Arizona, and just pull up trying to make content, and then all of a sudden have a warrant for your arrest. Just don't get too enveloped in that.
Gotta be smarter with it. That's a show.
Yeah, wear a ski mask. Come on now.
Oh shoot, here we go. Tell you what, I'm over that. I'm over that nonsense for real, guys. Hey y'all, hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been another episode of Black Friday. We'll catch y'all next week. Before we head off, we are planning on moving a day tentatively during the week. As we approach the summertime, we're going to work on a schedule that fits us best. So this will still be Black Friday, but it probably will be on a different day. When we find out that day, we will let y'all know. We appreciate your support, your patience all the time. If you ever want to donate or anything, feel free to hit one of us up. We can make that happen. And please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to everybody that you know. Thanks, y'all. We'll catch y'all next week.